Hello, and welcome to Accelerate You, where we hope to inspire you with low-cost and often free resources to accelerate you. Today's guest is my most fantastic co-host, Pernell Speight.
Hello.
I won't call him Pernell, you all know that, with Pens with Personality by Pernell. And today we're going to talk about one of the first shows in WHIG TV's series of A New Year, New You. So, of course, Pernell and I are going to talk a little bit about holiday festivities for the new year, and then what to do after the new year, purging of that wardrobe, some items that you never want to get rid of, and those types of things. And we're going to talk a little bit even about the history of New Year's and where that came from. So, welcome, sir. How are you?
Thank you, ma'am. I'm doing fantastic.
Very good, very good. So before we get started, we're going to do a little trivia here, all right? We're going to do a little trivia here. Do you know how long New Year's has been around? If you had to guess.
Well, I know it's been around at least 45 years because that's how long I've been here.
Okay, all right. Well, it's been around a lot longer than that. So
I have no idea.
A formal New Year's festivity. You don't even want to guess?
Let's say 300 years.
Okay. Oh, I need a little gong button here, folks. We have been, or the world has been, celebrating New Year's, traced back 4,000 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but back then, it was a little bit different than it is today. Back then, 4,000 years ago, it was really to make atonement. So if you owed me money, you would track me down. You would pay me the money that you owed me. It wasn't so much a new year, new you. It was a new year, you getting yourself right with anybody that you kind of maybe you weren't quite right with. So that you did more of an atonement thing for 4,000 years ago. And of course, it has evolved tremendously in the 4,000 years to the New Year's that we have today, which is more glitzy, glamorous, that type of thing, holiday and festivities. But what percentage, you got 100%, what percentage of folks make a New Year's resolution, Pernell?
I would probably say a lot. Probably the better question is how many actually keep their New Year's resolution.
Oh, that's a question. I got the answer to that. But tell me how many of that 100%. Do all of us, you think, make a resolution? What do you think the percentage is? No, not all of us?
I'd say probably over half, so maybe 60.
Okay, 60%. He's going with 60%. Now I want y'all to say to yourself how many percentage. I was a little bit surprised by this. Only about 30% of us make a New Year's resolution. Okay, only about 30% of us. I bet you it's higher, though. I bet you it's higher. Maybe people don't call it a New Year's resolution, but I think people are out there with that New Year, New You kind of stuff. But now here's where it really gets interesting. How much of that 30%, you're thinking it's 60, but how much of that 30% keep the resolutions?
Ooh.
How are you? Are you good with your resolutions? Do you make resolutions?
I would probably say 7% or less.
7% or less. Well, let me ask you this before I tell you the answer. Do you tend to set a New Year's resolution?
In my younger years, yes. As I've grown older and more mature and hopefully more wise, no, because I don't want to set myself up for failure. I just try to find ways to evolve, just to be better. I don't want to say, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Because things happen, and they don't always happen the way they want you to, and that's called life. So you have goals, yes. I don't necessarily set resolutions. I just try to get better with anything that I do.
Okay, try to get better. So you notice he used that word goals, and I have a feeling a lot of people use that word too, versus resolution. Well, this is really, really, really sad. Approximately 9% of folks keep their resolutions. They are successful. So you were a little low with the 7, but you were very close. And this data is really staggering. Let me tell you about this. 23% of that 30 quit within the first week. The first week!
I can believe it.
They don't even make it a week. Oh my goodness gracious. You haven't even tried if you haven't made it a week.
That is true.
23% quit within the first week. Now, I don't want you remembering this data, and so when you quit, you can tell your wife or your spouse or your loved one, your children, they don't, well, I'm with 23% of the population. I don't want you to hear that. And then this is really even amazing. 43% of those folks, 43% of those folks quit before the end of the month. So yeah, you're looking at 30% of folks, give or take, make a resolution, but I think it's higher. And almost half of those people quit in the first month.
Wow.
Yeah. So, something to think about. Something to think about with your verbiage, which I liked, which you said, I have a plan. I like to be in a constant state of evolving. Things happen. So, that way maybe you don't fall into this category. You know, you just kind of dust yourself off and keep it moving.
Right. And also, to your point, and I guess maybe it's a play on words, but when you say the word resolution, that automatically implies that something is wrong.
Oh.
So I don't necessarily think, when it comes to myself or something is wrong, you just want to evolve and get better because if there's a problem, yes, you want to resolve it, but don't go into the new year thinking that something is wrong with you. You know, we say new year, new you, but maybe nothing's really wrong with the old you. You just have to become a better you.
So perhaps a new year and the ever-evolving you.
I like
you
that.
like that?
I like
You like that? Maybe we'll change that. But we are going to be doing a whole series here at WHIG TV. So you do want to tune in at the daytime and the nighttime because we've got a lot of great shows coming up.
Yes.
So let's talk a minute about dress because we talked last month that you can get away with a lot of secret. I don't know if I'm showing up on your screen this morning, but I'm a little you gotta have your sunglasses on here in the studio. And as most individuals, depending on their lifestyle, you don't need that many sequin jackets.
No.
So, and you look absolutely fantastic as always.
Thank
but
you.
I don't know how many fancy tuxes you have in the closet. What do you think is a good number for most people? How many glitzy jackets and how many tuxedos do we need for the average person?
You know what? I would say for the average person, you don't need any more than 2. Maybe if you want to splurge 3, but I'd say 2. And the reason why I say 2 is just to have something to switch it up with.
Okay.
That's all.
So, mix and match.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So 2 to 3. We talked a little bit about last month that this, during the holiday season and New Year's, we can be a little bit blingier, and that's okay, right?
You can.
We can be a little bit gaudier than we normally are. But some things that we never want to do is drink in excess.
Oh, yes.
Okay, no drinking in excess, and maybe this isn't the best time, the start of the year, to maybe get into conversations that are sensitive.
Right.
We just completed an election, a lot of stuff going on in the world, so you might want to keep it to topics that are not quite sensitive. What'd you all talk about over Thanksgiving? What'd you talk about over the holidays?
Oh, man. So it was mainly a lot of laughing. So we played lots of games.
Games are good.
Unfortunately, I came out on the losing end.
Oh.
My cousins and my mom beat me out, but that's okay. I had fun and got the participation award, so to speak. But we just enjoyed each other's company. We didn't talk about, the election, or we didn't talk about anything negative per se. Everything was fun, everything was enjoyable, everything was lighthearted. We talked about the food, how delicious it was, and when we plan to meet again. So it was very very heartwarming and just good old family fun.
Good. And do keep in mind, that's really what all these holidays are about. It's not about spending a lot of money. It's not about packages under the tree. It's not about some fancy celebration on New Year's. It is about family. It is about you. So let's remember that.
Right.
So keeping with our New Year and our always evolving better you, and since you are my fashionista one, let's talk about a little bit about where we start in terms of that purging. Now, we talked a little bit about purging last month, and hopefully some of our folks took what we said to heart and did some cleaning. But there's always room to go through things. There's always new things coming out that you want to buy and get the old stuff. When you decide to clean your closet or whatever, a drawer in the house, where do you start and how do you start?
Well, for me, I may be the wrong person to ask, but I mean, you just start. Whether you start in the closet, whether you start in your drawers or a shelf or the attic, just start, and you'll eventually get to where you want to be. And you just look at it. Hey, I haven't worn this in a while, or you ask yourself, am I ever going to wear it? If the answer is no, give it away. If the answer is maybe or yes, then ask yourself, well, when do I plan to wear it? And if you cannot pinpoint a specific time as to when you may wear it, purge it.
Purge it.
Purge it.
You brought up a whole bunch of stuff, drawers, attics. Now, I have a personal rule in my house. Nothing goes in the attic, okay? And that's hard for a lot of women, because I don't know if you know this, but a lot of women put stuff up in the attic, and I will not. That's a rule I've had my entire life.
Wow.
Nothing goes in the attic. So if I were a person that had stuff in the attic, closets, drawers, garage, do you recommend that I one at a time or tackle them all?
You know, it depends on how much time you have and what you have going on. If you can tackle a lot in the allotted time that you have, do it, because more than likely, as people are all over the world, very blessed, very spoiled, and you have a lot of stuff, whether it be clothes or whatever you decide to collect. So if you have the time, I just say try to accomplish as much as you can within that time frame, because if you're so busy trying to attain your goals and reach your New Year's resolutions, you're probably not going to be worried about those clothes, and then it's going to be another year before you decide to try to purge again. So
okay, so you're saying go at it.
Yes.
Go at it. Go at it. I'm going to tell you that I have to do one space at a time. I'm a one spacer at a time. Isn't it funny? We're co-host and you're like, tackle it all, and I'm like, no, just one. Like for right now, I'll share with you in my own personal life, I've been working in the garage. So I have just been focused on the garage. And when the weather's pretty, because I don't have heat or air in my garage, so you can't really do it if it's really too hot or really too cold.
Right.
But we've had some great days, so I've been able to get out there with some winter clothes on and a toboggan, and I have set up bins. And I have bins for electrical stuff. I have bins for plumbing stuff. I have bin for what do you call them? Extension cords,
Yes.
right? Because you can never find an extension cord when you need one, right? Well, now I have an extension cord bin, and there's an extension cord in it. So I've got the bins going, and I feel so excited. There's something about, a lot of people have mixed feelings about cleaning. Some people feel like it's a rebirth. Back in the day, I know my great aunt Ree, who's passed on, really made a big deal of spring cleaning.
Okay.
A lot of folks have grown up in kind of a family where there were seasonal cleanings, and it was a really, really big deal. And I think as we've all gone to work, we've gotten away from that a little bit. But there is something very therapeutic about being able to stand back and find your stuff. And not my garage doesn't smell good, but your house probably would smell good. Have all your little ducks in a row, for lack of a better word. And I also have a bin, because I live on a mini farm. I have a bin with chicken supplies in it. So now it's in a bin. So I cannot do all at once. I've got to do one. When the garage is finished, I'll move on to something else. So, but you're going to tackle it all. You're going to drag it out.
Well, now that you mention it, I didn't think about it.
He's not allowed to change his mind.
Globally,
folks.
and I'm not.
He's not allowed to change his mind.
However, I was just thinking, hey, if you're in the attic, do as much as you can within the attic, not all over the house, because, I don't know of anybody that has that type of time to do the house, the garage, the drawers, and the whole shebang. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it can be a bit much. So whether we do it one room at a time or all of them, talk to me about what am I going to do with it afterwards.
Ooh. Well, me, I am a giver. And I'm a firm believer that we are all blessed to be a blessing. So if someone can reap the benefits of your blessings, of your closet, or whatever you're able to bestow upon them, give it away because, as they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So as long as it's presentable and someone can get some great use out of it, gift it to someone else. If you don't know anyone in particular, there's Goodwill, Salvation Army, charities all over that you can bless with your blessings that you're trying to get rid of.
I like that. I like to do the giving as well. I think it's a lot of work to sell.
It can be. It can be. It can be. I would say if you need help with garage sale or yard sale, I'm pretty sure you have friends or co-workers that have done it or that may have some expertise in it. Invite them in to help or join in with someone else in their yard sale, and you can get more bang for your buck, get more exposure, but definitely give it. I mean, that's what the holiday season is all about, giving and being a blessing to others. So if you can do that, if you can do that because someone at some point in time gave us something, so we just want to be a blessing and pay it forward to someone else.
I think sometimes when we decide we're going to do a yard sale or we're going to sell it, it just hangs around a little bit longer as well.
Possibly,
and you're right.
yes.
There's some really great charities out there. Where I live in Wayne County, we have one called Area Churches in Action.
Nice.
Everyone who works there is a volunteer, so nobody gets a fat CEO salary. So you don't have to worry about that. And everyone who works there going through the things and cleaning and posting and that kind of thing are all volunteers. So I tend to take my stuff to Area Churches in Action. But I think every county has at least one Goodwill, one Salvation Army,
Yes.
one Habitat. So there's lots and lots of places. And the other thing I was thinking about is sometimes you get that piece of furniture maybe you no longer want, but it's kind of heavy. There are folks out there who will haul stuff away.
They will.
And it seems like I'm always seeing posts from my girlfriends. They have a teenage son who's trying to make some money. Is there anything you need help with, right? And it's always like lawn stuff, wash your cars and stuff. But, maybe those are some folks that you could call to say, hey, can you help me move this? Can you help me move this to Salvation Army? Or can you help me move it to the front yard, put free on it, or something like that? Mm-hmm. So there's some different things that you can do there that you might be able to pay somebody a few bucks and get it out of the house. Somebody might be able to come and get it for free, and then you're also supporting a nonprofit with their funding. So very good, very good. So what are you thinking about your ever constant evolution? What would you like to see yourself evolving?
Well, I would say now that I am a school teacher, just pouring into more of our youth in any way that I can, even though I am a parent and I've been involved with the school system, not quite like this as a teacher. So just finding ways to pour into our youth and help create them to be, not only better students, but, better human beings,
better people
that this world needs. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So pouring into your youth, and you have two youth of your own.
I do.
And where are we with them? Are they? I see pictures of them all the time. Would you consider them good community stewards?
I definitely would. I would say if they're not, then someone somewhere isn't doing their job, but luckily it's not all on myself or their mom. We have a great family, great support system, church, even with school, their teachers and the school staff is phenomenal. So I'm definitely blessed because it could be far worse than what it is. So I hope and pray that they continue the path that they're on and continue to evolve, and I'll do my part with everybody else's child as well. Okay,
very, very fair. That's fair enough. Are you going to ask me what I'm going to do?
I sure am. So what are you going to do?
Well, in my ever evolving to be a better person, I have signed up for a conflict resolution class.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I'm taking that next month. and I'll be learning some tricks and trades there for conflict resolution, because you're right, conversations get heated.
They do.
There's a lot of people evenly divided on a lot of issues, and I'm not saying I want to get in the middle of a bunch of issues, but so I've signed up for a conflict resolution class.
All right.
It'll be one of many, I'm sure, before the year's over with. But yeah, so I think that that's something I would like to work on as I move into 2025. Maybe being a little bit more tolerant, a little bit more patient. I know it's hard to believe that I'm not, but there's always room for improvement, folks.
Exactly.
So,
and I think that's a good key. The first step is admittance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You definitely have to see it for yourself, and then you can see how you can evolve. So definitely kudos to you, because whether we want to be or not, somehow, some way, we always end up in conflict or in situations or circles that we don't necessarily want to be in, but we have to learn how to best maneuver in order to maybe avoid conflict or maybe even resolve conflict, so we can make it onto the next situation, or until we're in another circle like that. And believe it or not, people are watching. They want to see how you're going to react, what you say, how you do, and if you can be the example for someone, then it's all worth it.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I thought this particular instructor, I thought, well, he seems to be a pretty level-headed guy, and I've known him for quite a while, so I thought I'll take his class and see what it's all about. So,
Right.
Hopefully I do. Like you said, people watch, you find yourself in situations you might not have realized you're going to be in.
Right.
So let's see. And then we both work with students too, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
sometimes that can be a little bit, not volatile, but just different opinions because of different generations and those types of things.
Yeah, a lot of times.
So always room for improvement there. So I'm going to work on conflict resolution. You're going to work on our youth and pouring blessings and goodness into them so that they will be great stewards of the community.
Yes.
I'm going to tackle one room at a time. You're going to make a whole mess of the house at once. So I don't know. His wife might leave him, folks. I don't know. We might be doing a show on matchmaking next. I don't know. I don't know. But remember, this is not the time for just a resolution and to drop it before the end of the month. This is an ever-evolving you.
Definitely.
Very good. And once again, we'll be doing a whole series on WHIG-TV, both AM and PM, on a variety of topics to help accelerate you. So, my dear friend, I hope you have a spectacular 2025.
Thank you. I plan to.
Continued blessings, and I'm sure I will see you next year.
I'm sure you will.
All right. Well, so thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Yes.